From cluttered person to minimalist in progress. Today I'm going to be taking you through organizing some of my office drawers and how I make decisions on what to keep, what to get rid of, and what to delay the decision on for now. To get started, you're going to need 3 bins. Now, this system comes from the Minimal Mom, and what she does is she creates 3 containers, a donation bin, a time will tell bin, and then lastly trash. So I have those 3 right here. I think it works great to use those 3 containers and helps make decision making so much easier. So first up, our donation bin. Anything that we're donating is going to go in here. Typically I use a cardboard box, but I didn't have any today, so I'm using this plastic bin with my dry erase marker, which if you watch my leftover video, you know that I love using dry erase markers on glass or plastic containers to easily label them and easily wipe it off. So that's our first bin there. Our second bin is going to be our time will tell bin. So what this is going to be used for is helping us make fast decisions that we don't know yet if it's going to be a donation or trash, and we think maybe one day we're going to use it. So we're going to put anything in here, wait 30 days, see if we use it, and if we don't, then we're going to donate it or throw it in the garbage. So that's our second bin. I love this one personally because I do get hung up on things knowing that I've used it in the past, so I might want to use it in the future. And lastly is our good old trash bag. If you do want to use a black trash bag, that way other people can't see through it, that's definitely recommended by other declutterers and the Minimal Mom herself, but I don't have any issues with that. I don't ever question my decisions of what I see in the trash. So I just use a white trash bag, but do whatever works for you. Okay, well, let's get started. I'm gonna start with this bottom drawer here and just work my way up because I know that this top drawer is gonna be a little trickier because it contains things that are not mine and are my husband's. So we'll get to that later on how to deal with things that don't belong to you, but I'm gonna go ahead and start with the bottom drawer because that's mostly my stuff and it'll make it a whole lot easier. While you're watching this, you can either work alongside me or just go ahead and watch and listen to some tips as I'm thinking through decision-making processes of each of these items in here. Okay, so this is a little bin that I was trying to organize cords in. It's gotten really messy and it's a little bit overflowing. So I'm gonna go ahead and go through each of these and see which cords we're actually still using, which we have duplicates of, and then I have these little rubber clip things that help me to wrap up the wires nicely. So I'm gonna go ahead and put those on where I can. So that's at least a little better. I've got them all wrapped up now. And now we have all of these adapters. So I don't think that we need all of these, especially because I know that there are a couple others that are floating around the house. So I'm not gonna keep all these because I don't think I'm gonna be charging 5 things at once, plus whatever ones are floating around the house, probably a couple extra. I don't feel like I need 7. So I'm gonna pick the ones that I like the best. I know my husband really likes this one, so I'm gonna keep that one. This one, for some reason, I think that it doesn't work very well. So I'm gonna go ahead and donate this and let someone else use it. I'm gonna keep this one because this has a USB-C outlet rather than the typical USB. So I think this might come in handy. So it is a little different from the others. I'm gonna keep it. This other one, I'm gonna go ahead and let go of and donate. Okay, on to some batteries. They are all different types, so I do think I'm gonna keep each of these, but I'm just gonna organize them so they look a little nicer. I'm gonna lay them flat so that way we can easily see them and actually use them rather than accidentally buying more of something that we already have. Would you look at that? More batteries. And that is because they were shoved to the very back of the drawer. And so we didn't know that we already had some, and we bought some extra AA's for that reason. So definitely make sure that your stuff is easy to see, otherwise you will end up with duplicates like this. I'm gonna go ahead and consolidate these together, and this is gonna be our first piece of trash. Okay, so I do have some stuff from a Polaroid camera that we used from our wedding, and we had taken some pictures just of our guests and things like that on that day. I do still use this little printer that you can essentially send the photos from your phone to this and it'll print them. And at this point, because normally I just take the pictures on my phone and then send it to this printer, I don't really have the need for the camera anymore, I don't think. But I don't feel 100% confident that I want to donate it. So that is an item I'm going to put in the time will tell bin. Okay, I have some weird miscellaneous things in here that got shoved in there. If you have drawers like this, you might have the same problem. I have problems with just shoving things in places they don't belong because I don't want it to be in plain sight. So here we have a container of some exercise bands. I don't know exactly what they're called, but I was using them to stretch, and the reality is it came in like three different bands, and I don't need them, so I'm getting hung up on this one. I really don't know if this should be a donation or if I should just throw it away, but I feel like it's a pretty cheap item. I think I'm gonna keep the heavy one because I do like using that one, and I'm gonna throw away the medium one. Another thing with this exercise band is that I wouldn't go to look for it in this drawer. I wouldn't think that it'd be with my office supplies, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and take this to where I typically put my other exercise stuff, which I have a yoga mat and things like that in another container. So I'm gonna put that there right now before I forget. Okay, next up, more random stuff that really doesn't belong in the office. These are some screws for a desk that is currently taken apart because of some remodeling we're doing. So I'm gonna go put this with the desk. When you're going through a space like this, or any space really, when you go to take items, make sure to look through the entire area because this is a posture corrector, which if I were looking for a posture corrector, I would probably look for it with the exercise stuff. That's just where my mind goes. So I should have taken that with the exercise band and that would have saved me some steps. But I'm gonna go put it there now anyways because I don't want to create piles of stuff and then have to clean all of that up at the end. So here I go. I found more batteries. Does that happen to you? Do they just get kind of like scattered all over the drawer and you're like, how many times did we buy batteries when we didn't need batteries because we actually already had them? But that's okay. We're not going to do that in the future. We're going to learn from our mistakes and put them all together, visible, so we know exactly how much inventory of each item we have. Okay, lastly, I have some thread and some cheap needles and whatnot just to patch up any holes we get in our clothes. These are 3 different colors and I probably would use them all, so I'm gonna keep them here. I know this seems like a weird place to keep that kind of stuff, but this is also kind of our like craft area, so I'm gonna leave it in these drawers and I will know that it's in here and this is where I would typically go to look for it, so I feel good about it staying in this drawer. Doesn't that just look so much better? I mean, ultimately I think yes, maybe all of this stuff isn't totally in the same category. We've got batteries, we've got power cords, which kind of makes sense, and then we have Polaroid camera stuff and sewing stuff, but I think it works. I think that it makes sense for how big of a space this is. I really don't even need all that space for one of those categories, so to have 3 is totally fine. I now can see what we have. I know what cords we have, I know what batteries we have, and I can easily get to them, and that's the whole point of all of this, right, is to make sure that our lives are easier, because otherwise we buy duplicates and can't find the things that we need promptly. I didn't use any new containers. I just used what I had and organized it. So I'm not spending money to organize anything, right? I'm just laying it out in a way that makes sense and that I can see things visually, because otherwise my brain can't keep track of all the different stuff that I have. All right, let's move on to drawer number 2. Now this drawer is pretty organized. I feel like for the most part I know everything that's in here and I do want to keep it. There are a couple things though I am gonna take out and move elsewhere. So I have 3 things of packing tape, which is probably unnecessary. I don't go through packing tape that often anymore, so I'm gonna keep this one because I do like these littler ones. And these 2 I'm gonna donate, and hopefully someone else will make good use of them, especially with the holidays coming around. If people are sending packages more regularly, hopefully they can make some good use of these. Okay, 3rd drawer, here we go. So I used to have some oils that were in this little bin here, but as you can see, I just have 3 left. So I'm gonna let this bin go, and I don't know why I have a random cap in here, but I'm sure that's not needed. So this is gonna go in the garbage. And then I have these essential oils too. I just use them as like an air freshener. So I am gonna leave these in here because that's where I always go to refill our diffusers. So I'm good with those staying in here because this is where I would look for them. We have this handy dandy notepad, which I've kept for years. I am pretty sure I won this like in high school. And clearly it has not gotten used. It's been several years that I've had this and I still have not gotten through the whole thing. So if I needed paper to write on, I have other paper, so I am gonna throw this away. Okay, now this really bothers me because I forgot that we had these, and I actually just sent a birthday card to someone yesterday. If I would have remembered that we had these, I would have put one of these in that birthday card, but instead I ran out of time, didn't have enough time to buy a gift, and so I just sent the card as is. I bought these in advance thinking, oh, well, when it's someone's birthday, then I won't have to go out and think about something to buy them, and this will just be a really nice gift for them to pick out whatever they want. Because this space wasn't organized, I totally forgot about that. So I'm gonna put these ahead of the other cards, the thank you cards and little greeting cards that I have, and that way I can see them more easily and am reminded that I have these as gifts for other people. These do not belong in here. They belong in another spot that we have art paints and other things, so I'm gonna take those there right now. I have the seed catalog. It is really fun to look at, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna use it or not, or if I'm gonna look at it again. So I'm gonna put this in my time will tell bin, and if I think about it, and I wanna look at different seeds that we could buy in the next month or so, then I'll keep it because it will serve as a good reference guide, but if not, I'm gonna let it go and probably just throw it in the trash. That drawer is now organized. It doesn't look perfect, but it's certainly a lot better than when we started, and now I can see that I have gift cards in case anyone's special occasion comes up, and I've got anything removed that doesn't belong here or that ultimately was just taking up space unnecessarily and causing me to not see the things that I really did need to know were in here. On to the next drawer. So this one's actually pretty good. I did go through this not too long ago because I realized that we had so many extra pens and office supplies in general. Now I have just my drawer of pens and pencils and 1 pencil sharpener. I am gonna let these go because I got rid of our bulletin board. So we don't have a need for 60 push pins. So I'm gonna put these in the donation bin because they're actually super cute and I want someone else to be able to enjoy them and use them. I have this box of 1,000 staples. This would take me like 3 years to get through if I stapled one thing every single day. And that's not gonna happen. So I'm just gonna keep a few different staples. I'm gonna let the rest of this go to the donation center so someone can actually use them who does staple things pretty frequently, like a teacher or someone like that who would actually use them. Now again, these are just containers I already had. This actually came from a set of plastic drawers that I used to have, and it came with 3 drawers. I went ahead and just threw the container of the that held all the drawers away and just kept these as little bins. I find that works a lot better. I know that that's not really what it was meant for, but it works for what I need it to. And this I think I got when I was in college, and it's just from the Target dollar section or something like that. But Make use of what you have before you go out and buy new containers, and I think you'll be surprised. I mean, you don't even need to use actual containers and repurpose those. You could use things like the little plastic strawberry containers. If you have those, then you can just rinse them out, wash them, and then use that as a container for your pens or something like that. Don't feel like you need to go out and buy something to be organized. That is a myth. You can be organized with what you already have. And we're on to the final drawer, the drawer that's going to be difficult because it does contain a lot of things that do not belong to me. So we're going to do the best we can, and whatever I'm not sure about, whatever I do need to ask my husband about, since it is his stuff, I don't want to make those decisions for him. And I'm just going to go ahead and set that stuff to the side for now, and then let him make decisions and calls on what he wants to. And if he decides to keep all of it, that's totally his choice. What we're here to do is just work on ourselves and our own inventory and encourage him to do the same. But ultimately, if he doesn't, that's okay. These drawers still look way, way better. I don't know about you, but I just really hate when cords are just all over the drawer. So like I said, I have those rubber things that I wrap around the cords that I just bought off of Amazon. But also these binder clips work pretty well too. So just make sure you're not clamping your cords too tightly because you don't want to damage them. But this is so much better than just having it sprawled throughout the whole drawer. This is a little tool to fix a watch. And I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think that this is where my husband would go to look for it. I think he'd probably go and look for it in our junk drawer in the kitchen. So I'm going to set this aside and ask him about it later on. I have no idea what this is. It looks like a lanyard of some sort. I'm going to guess that it's my husband's and set it to the side. Okay, so I made it through that whole drawer. I think it looks so much better. Look how much cleaner it is. I can actually see what's in here and what's not, and I won't be making any mistake purchases in the future for Amazon gift cards or missing a gift for someone's birthday because I know exactly what is in there. In this video, we did use a fourth bin. I brought in that extra bin to essentially go through anything and ask my husband about his items and what he wants to do with them. I think that's probably a good idea. If you have a space that you're going through someone else's items, someone else's stuff, set it aside because the last thing you want to do on this journey is to create friction where you're frustrating other people because you're getting rid of their stuff. And that's just not a good experience. I hope that you find this helpful, seeing how I go through that process and what goes through my head and how I have overcome some of those mental obstacles that used to hold me up a lot in the past and still sometimes do. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that this video has been helpful to minimize areas of your home to have less and experience more. See you next time.